Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana, I think we said this earlier. God, I feel like we never get to talk.
I know.
Podcast.
I was actually, Adam and I were sitting in the hot tub last night and we were just going through life, all the things. And I texted you this today, Linda, but I said to Adam, I feel like you're stressed out. I said, I feel like I need a call with Linda. And he was like, well, can you book it? Because you seem stressed. I was like, yes, I can.
Well, and we're so excited because we just had an amazing conversation even before our podcast started with Garrett.
I know, Garrett. I feel like we should have hit record. We could have given value.
Yeah, everybody would have loved what we just discussed. So maybe we'll hit some of it again in this episode. So, Garrett, why don't you we've had you on before. You were an amazing guest before. So,
and we don't have many repeat guests, by the way, Linda. I feel like we really haven't.
Don't say that, Dana. I don't know. I can handle that. No, I'm so thankful for both of you. I know we've had you on our podcast, each of you, and just grateful to be here and so much alignment with your heart and what y'all are trying to do. So yeah, honored to come back. Thank you for having me. And now, Dana, I know I better bring it. So I'm going to do my best. Let's see how that goes. We'll find out.
Well, we love being on your podcast. You guys have such a great, what you're doing is so incredible. So tell everybody about that in case they missed, but also the real reason why we are having you on today is because you have a new book coming out. So we want to talk about that too. But first, yes, in case they missed the first episode, tell everybody kind of who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So I've been in real estate 11 years, married to my wife, Rachel. We've got 5 little kids, an 8, 6, 4, 2, and 3-month-old. So
I didn't even know about the 3-month-old. Wow. Congrats.
Yeah. It's been a long time since we've had any sleep or quiet, but it's totally worth it. Love every minute of it. So super quick background on what you're talking about, Dana. In October 2022, lost my mom. I had a real estate team. Things were going great, but I lost my mom. And, those next 3 months, I really just stopped and asked the Lord over and over, who do you want me to serve? Like, it's more than just building a real estate business. It's gotta be. And he made it really clear. I want you to serve Christian agents. And so we had a podcast called Serving, Not Selling that was doing really well, focused on relationships, right? The way I built my business. And we shifted everything over to the Faithful Agent. We launched a nonprofit in 2023 for Christians in real estate that's still going. So is the podcast. And that's been my heart ever since, honestly, is I just want to serve the Christian agent population. I love non-Christian agents too, right? Yeah. There was just no one really talking directly to us. And there's a lot of us out there. And so it's been quite a ride and quite a joy for sure.
Love it. Awesome. Is Tyler still doing stuff with you?
Yeah, he is not as much. He's still the co-founder, but he gave up on the podcast. So you all know it's way more fun to do it with someone. Now I just have to make myself laugh, which is way harder. And so I don't enjoy it as much, but we're having fun. And he is now an elder at his church. So that was the trade-off is, bro, go do that in your local church, man. Be committed there. You don't need to show up here. So but I miss doing it with him.
Yeah, that's cool. You all did a great job together. Well, talk to us a little bit about the journey. So you have a new book launching soon in November, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep,
yes,
November.
Called The Balanced Breakthrough, Winning at Work Without Losing at Life. I'm like, what a great title. I'm like, I want to read that.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Well, so again, I was telling y'all pre-show, right? I've had a great editor team. That was not the name of the book. When I got on the call with one of them, y'all will appreciate this as authors. When I got on the call with Kia is her name, who was like really kind of the guiding force for me in this whole process. She is the sweetest woman. She goes, Garrett, I have one more question. I was like, oh yeah, please go ahead, Kia. She's like, how do you feel about the name of the book? And I'm like, all right, well, I think you're asking me that because it's not very good. She's like, well, it's not great. And so started asking me questions anyways. So it came up to The Balanced Breakthrough, and it's so much better than it was. Wow. Like anything, you need good people around you, right? But, the joy for me, my heart, before I even share anything about the book is, I've been really fortunate. I'm 38. We've got 5 young kids, like I said, but I got into the industry like most people. I wanted to earn more money, but have more time freedom. And honestly, in the Lord's kindness, I've had a ton of time freedom to watch my kids grow up. And as I've done this and as I've coached more, and like you all, as I've gone out and taught more, I realize that's not a common thing that's happening in our industry. Yeah, maybe they're making more money, but they're trading, family dinners or missing their kids' soccer, whatever. And they don't want to. They just don't know how to get away from that. They don't know how to escape the craziness of this industry that honestly only celebrates one scoreboard, which is how many deals did you do, right? And so it really caused me to stop and say, I just want to help the industry. And a win to me for y'all, and y'all will appreciate this, a win for me is whenever I meet a kid, the son or daughter of an agent, if they were come up to me and say, Mr. Garrett, or whatever they call me, right? But Mr. Garrett, thank you for helping me see my mom more. Thank you for bringing my daddy home. Gosh, it gives me goosebumps to think about. That's what a win is to me. Is we've got to find out a better way in this industry. How do we define success and then actually pursue that? Because at the end of our lives, we're all going to have a headstone, right? I hope no one listening is like, I didn't know I was going to die. That's how this ends, right? That's why we need Jesus, first of all. But on your headstone, it's not going to say, sold 100 homes and a GCI of 2 million, whatever. It's not going to matter anymore. I hope mine says follower of Jesus, great husband, loving dad, whatever. So I should be in pursuit of those things first, knowing that the other things, the GCI, the deals, those things, it's what's going to serve and grant me that ability to show up in the way that I want to show up. So, and that's the passion behind the book. And I hope that it's going to make a difference for somebody.
I love that. It's so good. I just heard Linda and I love listening to Pastor Chris Hodges from Church of the Highlands. And I just listened to something, and he said, he was talking about like using your talents and, we're all going to die and all that stuff. And he said, and I hate to tell you all, but he said, you're going to die and they're going to have your funeral. And then everybody's going to stand around and eat potato salad. And then they're going to forget it. And then it's going to be over in a week or two. And I was like, okay, that's actually hilarious and true.
Yeah, that's right.
So true.
It started for me. So Tana, to your point, so this whole idea started, I lost my mom in 2022 and then my grandmother in 2023, but we're standing at my grandmother's funeral in 2023. And I'm looking at her headstone, right? I'm looking at my grandfather's headstone, and next to him is his father. So my great grandfather, Harvey Reidinger. I've never met him. He died 30 years before me, and literally all he was, he could have been an amazing man. I genuinely don't know, but it was a date, a dash, and a date. And I realized the dash is his life. And that's going to be me too, to your point, Dana. That's going to be me too. And so the question only becomes, how do I want to spin that dash? Is it only in pursuit of being a higher ranked agent at Realtor Prom at the end of the year, right? Which those are good things. I'm not saying don't be in pursuit of that, but is it in pursuit of something so much greater? If I'm so ambitious at work that it's keeping me from being ambitious at home, maybe the order is wrong there. And so, it just kind of hit me to say, gosh, here's my great grandfather. I don't know anything about him. His dash is his life. That's going to be me. So the question is, what legacy do I want to leave? And truthfully, as you all know, leaving a legacy of selling 100 homes a year is not the legacy that I want or most people want. So it just started to hit me. There's got to be a better way to keep score. And if that's true, there's got to be a different way to achieve that. And so that's the mission. That's really kind of where all this started hitting me.
Yeah, and funerals are such a great place to have a revelation, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Because you can tell how well their life was lived based on their funeral service. Some people have very few people there. I mean, you can tell they're just grabbing for straws on something to say. And then there's other people that there's so many people can tell you how they poured into their lives, how they serve them, all those things. I have some of my best revelations when I go to a funeral. What do I want mine to look like? What do I want people to say? And you're right, Dana, they're going to eat potato salad and be gone, and I'm going to be forgotten very quickly. But during those moments, I think so much is revealed about how they lived well when they were here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why. Oh, sorry, Dana. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think that's why, first and foremost, right, from me, it's why it's got to be a legacy of the gospel and teaching my kids about Jesus so they teach their kids. And the only thing that's going to continue is him and his word. It's not me. But it's also why, to your point, Linda, I think it's funny, as business owners, we're taught to start with the end in mind. That's amazing advice. But what about our lives? We don't start with the end in mind in our lives. And I don't want to live each day. It's not, being morbid and saying, well, we're going to die, so let's just cry every day because it's your last day. I have no idea. But the question is, and the reality is that is going to be the end. So now working backwards from there, who's going to be sitting there? If I'm 80, Lord willing, and I make it to 80 years old, and so does my wife, right?
Yeah.
She's going to be the one sitting there. I'm going to be, hopefully, Lord willing, enjoying my kids and my grandkids and maybe great grandkids. And not a single one is going to say, pop or whatever they call me, tell me about that house you sold in 2015, right? That's not what it's going to be. Yeah. So we have to be in pursuit of what we want our legacy to be each and every day. Real estate is part of that. Don't get me wrong, but it can't be the only thing. We should be in pursuit of something greater.
Yeah. Love that. So good. I do feel like more people now are thinking that way. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's like post-pandemic or what. I mean, Linda and I had this whole podcast series after the pandemic that we talked about coming out of the pandemic. People cared more about their health and their wealth and, just wanting to get healthier and wanting to figure out. But I feel like people are, it's like the hustle culture, quotation marks, is kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say going out, but I just think people are recognizing more the importance of how they spend their time and that it's, finite and that they want to be with their families more. It doesn't mean that they have to live a small life. They just have to get strategic purposeful. And they have, purposeful, intentional. And, you can still have a huge life, but just it not be that hustle grind culture. So we don't want you to give away the book because we want everyone to give away what's in the book because we want everyone to read the book. But will you give us a few things from the book? And if someone's listening, a nugget that they can learn, and then that way they'll go and purchase the book.
No doubt. So, and I don't mind giving it all away, right? I mean, obviously I want you, please go buy it if it's going to help you, but it genuinely is about your family. I mean, I wrote this thinking about your kids. If you're listening, that's who I'm thinking about when I'm writing this book, or when I wrote this book. So first and foremost, it's about the scoreboard. That's the general idea, right? It started with, I had built a big team and I was doing all this stuff. And then I realized, why do I even want this? This is not even what I meant to build. It wasn't in pursuit. I just was doing the next thing that I thought I was supposed to do. And I had come to this point in my business where I had figured out a way to double my profit, but it was going to take me up to 60 hours a week. And I realized, sitting there, this is in 2021, I'm sitting there. And I honestly believe the Lord gave me this question. And I said, 5 years from now, if I could look back on this man right here today, who would I be most proud of? The guy who doubled his profit and worked 60 hours a week, or the guy who figured out how to make the same amount, but was maybe working 20 hours a week on his business so I could watch my kids grow up, right? And so that started to change everything. I came back up to my office. I'm looking at my whiteboard's right here, wondering why was I scaling to the speed that I was scaling then? And it was because I was only measuring one thing, what the industry told me to measure on my whiteboard: transactions, volume, and profit. And those are good things, don't get me wrong, but that was the only way I was measuring whether I was winning or not. And so literally that day, and it's on there now, I changed my own scoreboard and I said, I have a profit goal, but now I have a wife goal, and now I have a family goal. And so now I have a new way to make decisions, right? So here's my profit goal. My wife goal is 2 dates a month. My family goal is take every 7th week off. And so ironically, right after that, I got an offer to speak at this really cool event. And would it hit profit goal? Sure. Could I still have dates with my wife? Absolutely. It fell right on the 7th week. And I felt like the Lord was testing, this new scoreboard. And I said, I would love to be there, guys. I can't. It's one of the 7th weeks, right? I'm off. I promised my family I'd be off. And so, I realized that if we change the way we keep score, we change the way we play, right?
That's good, Garrett. Yeah.
If you're a basketball player and they take away a 3-point shot, well, you're going to try to dunk it then because they changed the rules. You, agent and business owner, get to decide the rules of your own game, and we should be in pursuit of success for us. I absolutely, and last point on this, but I also have a heart, because my wife homeschools, have a heart for the homeschool mom who's like, I love my family, I homeschool my kids, and I have time left for 5 transactions a year. I met a woman like this, and she said, but my broker keeps telling me, you are wasting your talent. You should be doing more. I'm like, you're doing an amazing, do you have any time left? No. Then praise God for you choosing to be right where you want to be. That's a good thing, and we should celebrate that, right? So you define what a win looks like and be in pursuit of that. So that's really number one. Go ahead, Linda. I'm sorry.
No. I was leaning in to hear the number 2.
Okay. Ooh, we're getting warmed up, Linda. You guys told me to bring it. No, so that's the beginning. The second part of the book is going through what I call the PDA formula, right? I hope you think of PDA as public displays of affection, right? When the guy and girl in high school hold hands, you're like, ew, that's disgusting. That's not what this is. But it's how do you actually then go build a predictable, dollar productive or profitable business that aligns with who you are. And it's as simple as, from the predictability part, right, is what I say is just design your own lead generation recipe. When grandma created her famous cake recipe, she didn't Google it because that didn't exist, right? She came up with a list of ingredients. She mixed them together. She baked the cake and then she tried it. And if it was great, she did it again. If it wasn't perfect, she tweaked it and she tried it again. Lead generation should be that simple. If you want to build on social media, great. Maybe your ingredient is one personal post, one business post a day for 30 days. Awesome. Put the ingredients in, bake it for 30 days. And when it comes out, did it taste right? Did it give you the business you wanted? If not, tweak it, right? If not, throw it away and try again, something different. But we overcomplicate and we tend to believe that everything's possible. It is, but we should think in probability, not possibility. And simple is more probable than complex. So really it's this idea of, and I love food. So as much as I can talk about food and incorporate that into my business, I'm going to, right? But starting with that predictability, the profitability is simply holding every single dollar accountable. You know, in my own business, I started spending $1, it was returning 12. It was like, that's great. But I kept squeezing and saying, what if I do this? What if I do that? And it got to $1 and it was returning $90. And it just kept squeezing and holding it accountable, right? Especially in today's day and age. But ultimately, the authenticity piece, I mean, you all know as well as I do, we live in an industry that says, Albert Einstein says it best, right? Or said it best. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. That's the problem in our industry. You were created maybe to swim really well, but the industry says, no. Success looks like cold calling all day, every day. That's what a successful agent does. Oh, you don't want to do that? Then you're not going to succeed. There's a whole heck of a lot of fish out there that have a whole heck of a lot of different talents. Instead of trying to do everything, we should say, okay, Lord, how did you make me? And my job in stewardship is to go be excellent at that. That's what success looks like in alignment. And I always tell the story, my wife's family, their best friends growing up, the dad was 6'10". Okay, I'm 5'6" and 3/4. That 3/4 matters when you're my height. So the dad is 6'10". He invites me into his office one day. We're visiting the family. He wants to show me all his cool sports memorabilia, and it's awesome, but that's not what I remember. He works at a standing desk. I could walk back and forth without ducking under the standing desk. And I'm thinking, how are we the same species, right? I wasn't created 6'10". I wouldn't have been to go be able to be a professional basketball player. That's okay. Instead of always sitting there saying, why wasn't I made like this? What if I said, you know what? I bet I'm better at hide and seek than he is, right? What if instead I said, I'm going to work out of who I was created to be and try to be excellent at that. And I would love for our industry to say, you know what? If you don't want a cold call, then go be excellent at hosting open houses, whatever it is that you love to do. The Lord uniquely wired you that way. No one's going to beat you at being you. So go be great at that. And that's really like that idea of that's how we go achieve this new scoreboard, is really being in pursuit of those things.
That's so good. I mean, it also makes me think of our friend who now I think is the #1 GCI agent in all of KW, but Ken Pozek. I mean, he went deep on YouTube. Like, he didn't want a cold call, and he moved to a city he knew nobody in 9 years ago. And now today he's the #1 GCI agent of all of KW because he that's his talent. I mean, he's great at video and he just went all in on it. And I do think that's such a good point, Garrett. You said so many great things, but so many agents do think that their only form of lead generation is cold calling. And while that might be the quickest for some people, it is not the only form. I mean, there are plenty of ways that and if you are doing it inauthentically, you're probably not going to make the sale anyway.
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
Well, what I heard too also is I think you have to question the norm. I remember years ago, and I can't remember if it was Quantum Leap or what class I was in, but Gary said, who in the world ever said work was from 8 to 5?
Yeah.
What if we got it done from 8 to 11 or 8 to 12? I mean, so I think what we do is, and what I love about when you change your priority and you're still an achiever, you're going to figure out how to accomplish those things
Yeah.
with your priority being your priority. But when you never question and you get in and it's the hustle culture, or you say, well, the only way to get to this level is to hustle and sacrifice time with family and all that stuff. If you don't question that and say, who decided that was the only way you could do it? Who decided that it couldn't be done between these hours and these hours so that I would have the freedom? And, you know, back to what you said, Dana, about COVID, I think what made people now want to focus on wealth was because they wanted freedom, and they realized that if they stayed in the trap of, you know, trading their time for money, there was no freedom, right?
Yeah,
and so freedom all of a sudden moved up on the priority list, and people started figuring out ways to, how do I get to that freedom faster? Okay, well, one thing I could do is start building my wealth faster. So I love this, because I think when you change your priority and you're still an achiever, you're going to figure out how to do the things you wanted to accomplish, but do them without messing up the priorities that you put in place.
It's about, you all know this is about asking the right question. And I think the industry has started asking the wrong questions, right? I was on a show, a podcast guest earlier today, and he said, well, talk to the agent who wants to sell 25 homes a year. How would you do that? And I said, well, if that's all you ask, that's a really easy question. I don't know, go work 140 hours every single week. You'll figure it out. I mean, right? You'll meet enough people. You'll do those things. You need to ask the right question, which includes the priorities, to your point, Linda, which is, you know, how do I sell 25 homes a week, be at every single soccer game, and never miss a dinner? Whatever the scenario is, now that's the right question. And now you know what problem you have to solve. So if we get better at asking questions, we can solve, to your point, Linda, all kinds of problems, because the achiever is going to figure it out. But again, if you say sell 25 homes, sure, that's the easiest thing in the world. How do you do it in the context of the life you're trying to live? That's the right question. And then we know how to actually have the right answer.
You know, y'all, I had, this is a little bit of a squirrel, but yesterday I had a call with an agent in Ohio who works for a builder. They work for like a builder rep, but they used to sell real estate resale full time. And he went to work for a builder rep because he thought it was going to be like just more consistent, steady income. And he actually reached back out to me because I had talked to him for years. And he actually reached back out to me. We had a call yesterday, and he said, to be honest, when I look at it, he said, I've worked the last 9 Saturdays and Sundays in a row. And and he said, my daughter is, plays soccer. And he said, I did sit down with my family before I did this to say, hey, you know, this could be a good thing, but it might make me not be able to be at some of your stuff. But he's like, this weekend being the 10th weekend that I would be working Saturdays and Sundays and missing her soccer game. He's like, I woke up and was like, this is it. Like, I don't think I can do this anymore. And I was so glad. I was like, well, first of all, thank you for calling me, because you should not be doing that. I was like, we have to have a conversation. But it is so true, because sometimes, and Linda, we've talked about this numerous times, but Garrett, your formula, and I love the scoreboard idea, is so good, because a lot of times people think in order to have more or make more money, that means that they're going to be working more hours. And that's not the reality, but that's automatically what people go to in their mind. Okay, well, if I want to make another $250,000, where can I cut out time to figure out how I can add time to make that money? And that's just really that's not the reality.
Yeah. You remind me, Dana, of a story. So the first time I ever shared this concept was I was teaching at this event and actually created the concept like that week. Hadn't tested it, had nothing. And I just went up and shared it. Well, afterwards, a woman came up to me and she introduced herself. Garrett, I'm a solo agent and I'm a mom. That's what she said. Last year, I sold 55 homes, which is awesome. Her best year ever. And everyone's been asking me, Garrett, how many am I going to sell this year? So I say 60 or 70, because we're supposed to grow, right?
Just a little bit more than last year. That's what everyone says. Just a little bit more than last year.
Just a little bit more. But she said, but Garrett, after hearing your talk, I'm going to sell 30 homes and it's going to change my life. And I said, well, tell me why. You know, the talk was not about sell fewer homes, right? But she said, Garrett, I got into this industry because I wanted to pick up my daughter from school. Guess what I've never done, because I've been so busy selling homes, right? And I was like, praise God for that, right? It doesn't mean that, to your point, Dana, it's not that you got to sell less if you want to show up for your family. You can figure that out either way if you ask the right questions. But for her, she had lost what she intended to do and why she got into this industry. I wish I had gotten her number, could follow up and see how she's doing now, right? But if that's true and that's what happened, praise God, It changed her life. It changed her daughter's life.
Yeah.
Those are the things that matters. And I think we've been conditioned to make the wrong choice. Maybe we don't even mean to, right? But at the, so at Realtor Prom, right? At the award ceremony at the end of the year, a couple years ago in our market, not going to say the name, but the gentleman who was #1 agent, right? He's taking selfies with everybody. Everybody's congratulating him. It was broadly known that he was divorced that year, wasn't talking to his oldest son. So, okay, he's #1 in the market. He made the most sales, whatever. He's taking selfies. People are cheering for him. But guess what? He's going home to an empty house. Is that what we want to be in pursuit of? The answer is no. But we got to check ourselves because we accidentally fall into that pursuit because it's attractive and we can measure it. We have to actively choose with good people around us, actively choose to say, you know what, I'm going to go the other way and got to actively work that direction every single day.
Yeah, I love it. Well, most people only set goals in their profit side. They don't set goals with their family or with, like, Linda, I remember your stories from back in the day where you would set goals for the team, but you would involve the kids and say, when we hit these goals, like, we're going to go to Disney or we're going to go to Hawaii. Or, I mean, even that is setting family goals that are holding you accountable with your business. And you still made the time to celebrate it with the kids. So, I mean, I think people sometimes just don't even think about having a scoreboard or in your marriage or your relationship or whatever that is.
And I was listening to Graham. I'm trying to finish both of his books since I'm in his program. But one of the things that he said was he picked these kind of fake mentors. Who would he want to listen to? Of course, Jesus was one of them. But he listed all these other mentors. And if he had an issue, he would sit and think through how would that mentor help me make this decision. But he said one of the #1 priorities was that their marriage had lasted.
Wow.
And I think about that all the time. When I woke up one day and realized some of the leaders I was following, there were dead bodies around them.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would I follow a leader that when you get through, there's dead bodies all around them, and they don't have the quality of life? And so I won't mention the person's name in the industry, but I'm like falling out with kids, divorce after divorce. I'm like, why would I follow a person like that? And then I remember when I got, in the same circle with Gary, I thought, now this is somebody I can admire. There's people whose lives get better because they follow him. He makes it to his kids, everything. He'll get up and leave a meeting and you can just keep on if you want to, but he's going home, and married to the same woman. I mean, those are things that I think a lot of times we don't bother to look at in a person when we're looking for a mentor or a coach.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So good.
Yeah. I teach towards the very end, I teach what I call the hierarchy of attention. And in the book, right, it's this, we all have, here's my organization chart, whatever, but do we have that for where our attention should go? And so for me, from a biblical order, right, it's my relationship with the Lord, my wife, my kids, then my work. And that's the biblical order. And it doesn't mean my kids get as much time as work. That's just not possible, right, all the time. But it's the quality of attention. Am I even keeping that in check? And I have friends and I love all those things, but I don't have a lot of time for them right now. And that's okay, right? And if a client wants to take me away and say, you better be answering the phone at 10 o'clock and whatever the answer is, you know what? We're not a good fit for one another because this is not my priority. If I can't show up for my family, I'm not going to show up for yours either. So I'm going to take care of them. And so even just prioritization of what both of you are saying, but being able to ask, all right, how are things going with my wife? On a scale of 1 to 10, I do this at the end of the week. Scale of 1 to 10, how's my attention been on her? I'm tired at the end of the day, right? We got a ton of kids, all those things. And so I'm like, all right, maybe it's a 6. All right, what can I do this week to make it a 7? Maybe it's make sure that I shut my phone off at 5 and pay to whatever it is. And with my kids, how do I do those things? It's just the constant check-in. You know what never has a problem is work because I like it. I can keep score. I can show up and do it. I'm an achiever like you all. That's not the problem. I don't got to keep that. That's what I have to keep in check. I need to be in pursuit of, man, I'm naturally going to show up well for work. And then I'm going to naturally fall asleep on the couch on my wife. I don't want to be that way. So how do I make sure I hold myself in check that I can show up well for her too? And it's just these ideas, right? And it's hard. Everything is hard. It's been a fist fight of 2 years in the real estate industry too. And so, but how do we hold ourselves accountable to do what we set out to do? That's really all this is. Just pay attention. Where should your attention be going? Make sure you're giving the best of your attention in the right appropriate order.
Yeah. I love that. I was watching a reel the other day about it was like one of the I don't even know what it was that popped up. But anyway, it was Erica Kirk talking about how every single day Charlie asked her what he could do to serve her better and be a better husband. And then there were all these clips of like, you know, them being together and him trying to serve her better and stuff. And I thought just like one intentional act of that, I mean, it will be like the thing that she'll remember the most probably about. I mean, but and knowing of all the things that you have going on in your life and how busy you are, and, you know, just that as a priority. It's really, Garrett, I love this. I can't wait to read the book. I cannot wait to read the book because it's, and honestly, I can't wait to buy it for a lot of my agents because they are going to, they absolutely, they're going to, I mean, everyone should read this, especially those in real estate, because you do. I mean, what, at the end of the day, you know, if you make a bunch of money, but you don't have a relationship that you love, or you know, aren't, having the,
or you got to go repair, or you have regrets around. Oh my gosh.
Then what's it worth anyway? I mean, really.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. The things that our industry has sacrificed at the altar of success is terrifying. And I love what you said, Linda. I absolutely love it. Look at more than just their success, quote unquote. Look at their marriage. Look at the family relationship. Look at the people around them. Who are you going to be in pursuit of? There's a lot of great people to follow. Don't choose the wrong one. Choose the right one and try to be like them. Absolutely agree with you. And genuinely, you all are great examples of that too. Right. So they can look to you all and say, I want to be like them too. That's what I'm trying to live up to also. And so, you know, there's so many good people out there that you can listen to and follow, be in pursuit of what matters to you. My wife will never be upset that I didn't work at 8 o'clock, right? She'll be upset when I forget to take her on a date. Those are the relationships that matter and will matter forever. So this is the pursuit of that. And I hope that it's going to impact a lot of people.
Garrett, before long, you might have to drive a Sprinter van.
Well, we're really close to that right now, Dana.
You better hurry because you're going to outgrow it.
Right. Well, again, 5, 6 3/4. We don't outgrow things in my family.
That's true.
Maybe we might get too wide. Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, we can double up. We'll be fine because it'll still only be like 4 feet tall. It'll be perfect.
Oh, the McKissicks understand that problem too. We have the same sort of problem.
We have. Go ahead. Go ahead.
As we wrap up, what would be the final thing? I mean, is there anything that's been, I know this has been on your heart for a while. Is there anything that you're seeing different? Are you seeing it get worse with better agents? Or are you seeing it be worse? What do you see in the trend as of people waking up to this reality about what priorities should be? Where, how do we do this business and then still keep intact what's most important? Are you seeing that get worse or better, or what would your final thought be on it?
I think to Dana's point, I think it is getting better. I think the awareness is better. I don't know that the activity is better.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know, especially with the Charlie Kirk assassination, I think people realize, number one, there's no neutrality that doesn't exist. So I got to be honest with who I am and what I care about. I think that's really good out of a terrible situation. Praise God for that. I think people are waking up and saying, I don't want to do this, but now that I'm on this hamster wheel, I don't know how to get off. But I do think they're aware of it. I just don't think they know what to do to stop being on the hamster wheel. So I think it's kind of a mix of both.
So I can see that. I can totally see that. Well, okay.
Go ahead, Dana. You're going to ask how can they find the book?
Same thing. Yeah. Garrett, how can people find you, and how can they pre-order the book? How can they, if they want more of you, if they want you to come speak to their, tell us all the ways.
Yeah, well, y'all are amazing. Again, thank you so much for having me back on. So they can just go to GarrettMaroon.com. They can connect with me there. If you're an agent, I mean this, belly to belly, I care about your kids. Text me, 804-878-2200. I will maybe not respond right away, and it won't be after 5 or the weekend, but I will get back to you because I genuinely want to make a difference in your life. Individual listener, I want to make a difference in your kids' lives. So please reach out. Even if you don't want to buy the book, please reach out. I want to genuinely help you. So I'm just so appreciative of both of you for having me back on.
When does the book drop? When can we get it?
November 25th, right before Thanksgiving.
November 25th. Okay. And is the best way
need them to order on the 25th, or by what date would you really like for everybody to put their order?
Yeah, so if they order early, they'll get a bunch of freebies with it, right? But obviously early is good. Go to GarrettMaroon.com. It'll tell you and give you all the ideas, those things. But it's really whenever. And to your point, Dana, I'm so appreciative that you want to buy it for your agents. That's what I really hope happens is, this applies to you too, agent, right? But it's easier to say, this friend needs to hear this message, right? Buy it for them and do it together. Change happens in relationships and accountability. So I hope they'll study it together and they'll actually see change come out of it. If they buy it, that's a vanity metric. Cool. I've made some return on my investment. That's fine. I want this to change your life. I really do.
Yeah. And what so a great book for a office book club or ALCs to do together, or especially going in at the end of the year, going into next year. These people might read your book and then change their scoreboard for 2026, which would be awesome.
That'd be cool. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is so good. Thank you, Garrett, so much.
Thank you.
So
remember, y'all are amazing.
If you've not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that now. And the greatest compliment you can pay Dana and I is, number one, pass this podcast along to anybody that you think would benefit from these kind of conversations. If you have a challenge, a question, an opportunity, or a guest that you think that would be good on the podcast, be sure and reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. And Dana, I guess I'll see you next week. Garrett, good luck on your book. Can't wait to read it.
Thank you so much.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.